நீங்க இது கட் ஆனோனே பேசணும். நான் இப்படி காமிப்பேன்.
Good morning, everyone. I welcome you guys to the induction program, day 4 and session 2. Now, I have a very pleasant duty of introducing our chief guest, Dr. Miriam Samuel, HOD of Social Work Department, Tambram, Chennai. Ma'am did her BA and MA from Stella Maris and her PhD from Madras University. Here, I am pleased to say that she secured a gold medal in her master's. She is a woman of distinct vision and a fountainhead of illuminating ideas. She began her career as a professor in MCC from 1989 to 1993, and she rose to the position of HOD, and she is known for her distinguished works. She has contributed to the institution in numerous ways. Ma'am introduced innovative studies to the subjects in her curriculum. She initiated a number of international collaborations. Dr. Miriam is the chairperson, Board of Studies in Social Work Department. She is also a consultant, resource person, and trainer in women's empowerment. Dr. Miriam Samuel designed and established the Center for International Social Work. Ma'am was also the coordinator of Internal Quality Cell Assurance Cell at MCC from 2010 to 2013. She also served as a Dean of Humanities during 2008 to 2010. There is a lot more to say about her, but time would not suffice. We welcome you, ma'am, to share your thoughts and enlighten us. We are honored by your presence today. Please, ma'am, now the forum is yours. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Anita ma'am, for that introduction. I'm very, very happy to be here again with you all this morning. As Anita introduced, I work at the Madras Christian College in Tambram. I know some of you may be from this area and are familiar with MCC. So I've been working here for the last 31 years. And more than anything else, I've enjoyed coming to Sairam Institute on more than one occasion. I think consequently over the last few years, I have been interacting with the first year students as soon as they enter college for the induction program. And I think just a few weeks back, also I did meet some of you, and I think there's a bigger group today that we are meeting. So let me start by thanking the Sairam Institute of Technology, the management, and the principal and all those concerned for inviting me, very especially the Department of Science and Humanities, and my very good friend, Professor Balaji, for getting me involved in these programs over the last few years. So I'm very happy to be associated with your institution and also with the first year students. I do not know what the connection is between you all and me, but somehow the department and very especially Professor Balaji insists that I come, and they say it has been good having me there. I do hope that even in this situation where we are doing it virtually, we always do it physically in the big hall that you have in your institution. But we're doing this virtually, and it's a much bigger world outside there, and I'm just looking at only your initials, and maybe some of you have your profile pics on your screens, but otherwise I'm just looking at initials, and it's a different connection altogether. But I do hope I can connect with you all. I know I can see a few faces. Some of you have your videos on, which is good. Like I can see Manish right now on my screen. I can only see the fan of Edwin. I can't see Edwin's face, but I can see Edwin's fan. I can see some faces of faculty members. Yeah, Rahul is there, and there's somebody called Neeraj who has a profile picture. Yes, Varsha is there, and Madhumita and Santosh and Kritika, Dianesh. Yeah, so nice, Srinita. So many of you. So it's so nice to be connected this way. In a way, I'm able to see your faces, some of you. It's good because it gives me a sense of being connected and motivated to be presenting with you all. Fine. So that's very good. I know some of you have even cartoons on your profile pics, like Angelin has a cartoon of Pooh the bear. Is that Pooh the bear, Angelin? Okay, very nice. And I think looking at all these cartoons and pics also gives an understanding of who you are. I can see somebody with the cricketer on their profile picture. So maybe that's a person who loves cricket. Movie stars, somebody taking a selfie. So it's nice to be connected and back. Yeah, there's somebody called Janani who has some cartoon pictures. I do not know what cartoon that is, but it's so nice to be connected. I'm so happy to be here with you all. They have asked me to speak to you all this morning as you go through this induction program. And I know that from morning you've been sitting in front of the screen with a short break for about 10 minutes from 11:20, and then you had to log in back at 11:30. I do understand that it is difficult sometimes just staying connected like this on front of your laptops or in front of your mobile phones. But nevertheless, that's the world that we are in. And I do hope we will be able to spend some quality time till around 12:30. I'm going to start my screen share and for you all to see what I'm going to present, because instead of just looking at my face, I thought it'd be nice for you to look at some material also. Yeah, so the screen share is in front of you, and you can get an idea of what I'm going to speak on by looking at the topic. While I was thinking on what to speak to you all, because you were all first year students, and I was wondering what to say to you all and what to speak to you all, they wanted me to motivate you or, kind of help you as you enter into the academic program. So I was wondering what to do. And suddenly, I said that we're all so caught up with this buzzword of Zoom. So when I was talking to my daughter, who's also a teacher in a school, in St. John's school, so when both of us were discussing, and then we used this word, and we said zooming through COVID with a pun on the word Zoom. Zooming through COVID, our wellness matters. So I think it's important that we need to, I wouldn't use the word successful, but very positively, with a lot of resilience and with a feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction, really zoom through COVID. Not just Zoom in terms of the technology that we're using right now. I know we are all on the Zoom platform right now, but I'm talking more about zooming in terms of focusing, zooming in terms of comfortably going through the entire process, zooming in terms of having a sense of accomplishment and being able to complete what we have to do. And through all this process, I think what we really need to look at is our own wellness. Our own wellness, how capable are we to handle ourselves in this kind of a situation that we are in? And that's what we're going to be talking about this morning with you all. I was looking at the screen, and I know there are quite a few of you here. I think more than 200 people here. So I really hope that I will be able to reach out to you all, and even if some of you are able to benefit from this, I really thank God for using me this morning, because this morning that was my prayer. And I said, God, whatever you have in store for me, use me in such a way that I will be able to reach out to people, or my life will benefit somebody today. And I do hope that my life that God has given me for another day truly is grace. When we look at what is happening around us, that God has given me another day of grace. And I do hope that this day of grace will be beneficial to all of us in one way or the other. And that today was a day that I'm going to spend with you all for about an hour. Now, why do we need to look at wellness during this particular period when we are all on online classes and trying to cope effectively and trying to make the best out of what is there before us? Why do we need to look at this wellness? We all know that this COVID has impacted us in so many different ways at so many different levels. I still remember in December, while we were talking about this in China, we never realized it will come to India. We never thought we will be part of this particular that time it was not a pandemic. They designated it a pandemic after it spread to all the countries. But we never thought we will be part of this COVID-19 when it broke out in China in December. And we were all so cool and casual about it, went about our Christmas breaks and holidays and New Year and Pongal celebrations. And I know all of you were in your final exams at that time. And I can imagine the kind of stress you all went through at that time. There were some boards that could not complete the exams also. I know the state board somehow managed before we closed down. And little did we realize that even when we shut down in March, that we will be close to almost 10 months. It's the 10th month that we are in, and we still haven't come, but almost 10 months that we've been closed. Little did we realize that our lives would be affected so much. Okay. And therefore there have been a lot of feelings that have come with it, being overwhelmed or anxious, worried, afraid, a sense of not being able to make out about what is happening around us. Every day morning we get up. I don't know how many of you have said it or your family members have said it. What is going to happen to our world? When is all this going to end? When are things going to change? Are we ever going to go back to a normal setting? So it's this kind of a feeling of anxiety and being overwhelmed by the constant change that is taking place around us. Even now, I think last month, 2 weeks back, the government said we're going to reopen. And then the government said no. And now they said for MSCs, final year MSCs, PG MSCs, they will open from December 2nd. But we really do not know. And the UGC has sent so many guidelines about how institutions have to function if they have to open, with only 50% of seats and only single rooms in the halls. And so educational institutions are all wondering, perplexed about what is going to happen. And I'm sure all of you, as students who've just entered, not even visited your classrooms or come in contact with your friends, are as much overwhelmed and perplexed about what is happening to us. And it's kind of creating a sense of vacuum among young people. Very, very much for the young people, because you're so used to social contacts, you're so used to being out, connected with people, your social lives are so different. And I'm sure it's creating a sense of vacuum. And I'm sure all of you were so looking forward to college life after school. It's a totally different life altogether. Believe me, it's a totally different life altogether. I'm sure all of you are looking forward to college life, getting away from uniforms and, getting into college life and a different lifestyle altogether. More of freedom, maybe at the same time a sense of responsibility, because you are college students right now and you're almost young adults right now, no longer young adolescents. And so, it does create a sense of vacuum for you all as we see it when we look at college students. Now, there has also been a lot of fear and stigma that has been associated with the COVID. Fear about the disease itself, because we hardly know anything about it. I do not know if you read the news a few days ago where they're saying in Germany it is mutated again. I know Germany or one of the European countries, it is mutated again, and they really do not know how it is going to present itself. They do not know whether the vaccines that the world is developing and they're saying it's going to be available soon will really help. So that's the kind of situation that we are in. So fear associated with the disease, which is new. We've never heard about it. We never heard this word at all. We all heard it only a few months back. And so many unknown factors, even scientists are baffled about what is happening around us. And they're wondering why certain countries it's very high, why certain countries it's lower, why certain age groups, so many factors that are associated with it. And whenever something is unknown, there is always a fear and anxiety. Anything that's unknown creates a lot of fear and anxiety, and a sense of anticipation about what it is. And this fear gets translated onto others, and that is why the stigma comes. And I'm sure you've heard stories of neighborhoods and communities which have stigmatized people only because of this COVID. And I still remember I saw a video of community neighborhoods that were stigmatizing the cleaning municipal workers who were actually, they have been working non-stop right through COVID. There's a lady who comes to my house every day from March onwards, and she still comes. And but there is so much of stigma. There have been neighborhoods that have stigmatized these people. Don't let them touch anything. Don't let them come to your gate. And throw phenol as soon as they come and go. I know things like that. And so there's a lot of stigma that is there. And so all this is fueling this kind of stereotypes that we are having related to this COVID. And this has not, spared us in the field of education, whether it is faculty, students, or management. It has not spared any of us, whether it is in India or the US or any other country. It has not spared any of us. And we know how all these online platforms are becoming the buzzwords today, whether it is Zoom or Google Meet or any other platform that is there. So it's about 10 months. For me, it's about 10 months that I have shifted from what I was doing to online teaching and assessments. My students have shifted from classroom physical settings to online teaching and assessments. All the tests this week, for instance, we've been having internal tests for our students, and many of them are doing it for the first time because they are just entered PG, and this is the first time they're doing online tests because they had all their internals. They were physically present till March in their colleges, and then of course their exams were conducted online, but it was a different setup altogether. And there is a disruption for millions of students in learning. When I say disruption, there's so much of change in the way we are learning today. The way we are learning today. Earlier we used all our senses to listen, but today you're using so much of, even as I'm speaking now, you are using so much of your sense of hearing. There's so much of pressure on our sense of hearing to learning, and it has disrupted the lives of students in so many different ways, with no access sometimes, limited connectivity sometimes. There are students who do not have laptops, and therefore doing assignments is becoming a challenge because you can't type so much on an Android phone. There are people from marginalized communities who have absolutely no access. Tribal communities, poor rural remote communities, poorer communities within the city itself, who do not have the kind of gadgets that many of you are enjoying right now in your own families. So lack of access, disruption for many students across the globe, and this change is very challenging, and it can be emotional draining. Very emotionally drained we get by the end of the day, because we are constantly on our laptops, on our gadgets. We're constantly listening, and I know a lot of students are saying, ma'am, it's very tiring, and that's why we're insisting on giving breaks and all those kind of things for the students as they come online. And a lot of us are in a sense locked inside our homes. Of course we do go out a little bit, but it is not the same as before. We're kind of locked within our houses with nothing much to do, and this can lead to a lack of motivation for all of us. But on the positive side, I'm a very positive person, I'm a very resilient person, I always look at the positive side of things. On the positive side, it has opened new avenues. For instance, even today at my Department of Social Work, we have two webinars, high-level webinars. At 3 o'clock, we have a webinar with UNICEF. UNICEF, it's a UN organization for children, okay? United Nations Children's Fund. And we're doing a training program for school teachers. So we have a UNICEF workshop at 3 o'clock. And then at 5 o'clock, we have an international webinar with the International Association for Schools of Social Work, which is an international body where all schools of social work are registered in it. And we have participants from across the globe and resource persons from across the globe. So we could not have done it if not for this, because we can't be getting so many international people coming to Madras in Chennai and paying them airfare and giving them accommodation and all those things would never have been possible. We would have had to spend lakhs and lakhs of rupees. But today, with just about having the Zoom link for which we have to pay, we are able to conduct high-level webinars. And so the positive side of it, I've always looked at the positive side, the amount of time we're able to spend with your families. How many of us have said, oh, I wish I could just sit at home and not go to college? I wish I didn't have to travel to college. I wish I didn't have to, physically go, and I could just sit at home and study. All our dreams are answered. So in a way, it has opened up a lot of new avenues for all of us. But at the same time, I think it is also important for us to look at, our mental health during this COVID time, because we have heard a lot of case studies, we've heard a lot of news, we've spoken to students, and many of whom are also struggling with the situation that they are in, and how this COVID-19 is also triggering mental health issues. Okay, so this is from a particular project called the Depression Project in the US, and they were looking at how this has triggered mental health issues, and they said how this is triggered because we are doing a mindset switch from really living to surviving in this COVID world. We are really thinking of how to survive without getting infected. And so sense of hopelessness initially when we started, job insecurity. I know there are families, maybe even in the same group, where parents have lost their jobs or had to change their jobs or had a reduction in their salaries, so many things like this. In a sense, social withdrawal, because the term that has been used by the government is social distancing. Actually, what we need is not social distancing, not emotional distancing, but all we need is a certain amount of physical distancing. But what have we done? We've socially distanced ourselves. We've emotionally distanced ourselves. And that is creating a sense of mental health issues, or triggering some kind of mental health issues, leading to loneliness. There is decreased financial security because of what is happening around us. Fear for our loved ones, very especially if you have elderly people within the family, or people who have other pathologies, physiological diseases that can make them more prone. And so there is a sense of health anxiety and despair, very especially because young people, you're not able to go out, you're not able to socialize, you're not able to interact with your peer groups and your social friends physically, you're not able to travel out too much, you're not able to go into college and sit in your classes, and it creates a sense of despair in people. So these are things that we need to be aware of. It need not happen, but we need to be aware of our mental health during a situation like this. And this stress that we are facing because of COVID can lead to some of these problems, like worry or anxiety, difficulty in sleeping, changes in our sleep and eating patterns, worsening of our health problems, certain habits, very especially negative habits. We've seen an increase in domestic violence. For instance, you may have read reports how there is an increase in domestic violence during the COVID time, increase in sexual abuse during the COVID time. We've seen number of cases of sexual abuse because people are all inside and lonely outside. And when young girls go, even 2 days back, in UP, we saw an incident of sexual abuse. So number of cases of abuse that is coming up, domestic violence, increase in use of alcohol. These are things that are happening because people do not know what to do, and they're not able to spend their time in terms of qualitative times, and they really are confused about what to do. And this stress and that people can face, that includes even us, can create a lot of physical or psychological or behavioral symptoms. Physical symptoms that is there, low energy, maybe low feeling of lethargy, feelings of fatigue, and low appetite, maybe headache or neck tensions, gastrointestinal problems. We are seeing some of my students who've been complaining of headaches and neck tensions, very common at this time because of the stress of being online and connecting online constantly, and the other anxieties along with COVID. Emotional symptoms that are there, like sometimes negative thoughts, especially when we are inside and we are not talking to anybody, a lot of negative thoughts that creep into our minds, discouragement, insecurity, lack of interest. What is this? I was waiting to go back to college. I was looking forward to being in Sairam, and now I'm just sitting in front of the computer and the screen, and I really do not know what to do. So a sense of feeling that things are not happening the way you wanted it to happen, leading to stress and leading to emotional symptoms like lack of interest, being overwhelmed by what is happening around us. And this can lead to behavioral symptoms like inability to concentrate. I do not know how many of you are able to concentrate online, listening to all these sessions and lectures and all that is going on. So, that kind of a thing, and withdrawal, and obsessive patterns of behavior. Okay, obsessive patterns of behavior can be there. So these are things that can happen and something that we have to be familiar with. Why I'm telling you to be aware of your mental health and these changes that are taking place is because it can lead to disorders, and we have to be very careful about that. Okay, that people who have been in despair have even gone to the extent of ending their life, and we've heard stories of this among students. And so we have to be very careful about our mental health and make sure that we are handling our mental health and our stress in the right way. I've been telling people jokingly that with the amount of hand washing that we are doing, we may land up with obsessive compulsive behaviors. We are constantly, anything we touch, we're going and washing. So we have to be very careful about our mental health and not lead. It should not lead to other disorders that can affect our mental health in some way. So therefore, if we really need to take care of our mental health, and that is where I said, if we have to zoom through this COVID, if we have to successfully go through this COVID, if we have to enjoy what we are doing, be positive, try to stay motivated as far as possible. If we really need to do this, then we really need to have a wellness plan. We need a wellness plan. Every one of us, it includes you, it includes me. We need a wellness plan. No, we have a wellness plan. I have a wellness plan, and I have dealt with what is happening and the changes that are happening around me as far as possible, as positively as possible. So we need a wellness plan. And a wellness plan is, very often when we talk of wellness, we only think of physical wellness or mental wellness. But wellness is more comprehensive in nature, more holistic in nature. And our wellness should look at our physical, our mental, our spiritual, our emotional, social, occupational, and our environmental wellness to a very large extent. Okay, so I would like each of you at the end of the session, when you have time for yourselves, look at yourself and see how you're coping and what is your wellness plan till we get back to coming back into colleges, or till we get back to normalcy. Okay. Now, looking at physical wellness, I do not know how many of you are doing this, exercising every day, for instance. I go for walks every day in the evening on my terrace. Some people exercise with weights at home. Some people do skipping. Okay, they do skipping. Some people do physical activity as a form of exercise. Okay, so exercising every day is important. And young people, I think it's important that you exercise, because exercise increases what we call happy hormones. We all have hormones. I'm sure there are science students in this group. We have what is known as happy hormones. Okay, happy hormones. Now, when you exercise, your happy hormones are increased. So your physical wellness leads to your mental wellness. So when you physically exercise, it leads to a psychological and mental well-being, because it increases your happy hormones, your serotonins in your body. Okay, so exercise every day, engage in physical activity, physical movement. Usually when I have a class, I have a break of about 15 minutes between two classes. And what I do? I just get up and go and walk around my garden and come back. Fine. I don't continue sitting here in front of the laptop or go and lie down after that. I usually get up and go out. I go into my garden. I look at my garden. I look at the fish that I have in my garden. I just look at the flowers. I walk around for some time, and then I come back and sit. Okay. Also, I do not know. I know a lot of my students have taken up other activities. Like, I know a student of mine who's in Kerala, and his area was very, very badly affected, and they were, like a containment zone, and they couldn't even go to the market. And you know what he did? He started gardening. And one day in one of the classes, we were talking about what are the activities we've been doing. And he brought the vegetables that he had grown and shown it in class. So things like gardening, cooking, or baking. We have many students who've been posting their baking pictures. Okay. Arranging, we've had people who've been arranging their photo albums, stamp collection albums, their coin albums, rearranging things in their house. So a lot of activities like this can give us a lot of peace of mind. Okay, so looking at our physical wellness, even in terms of the food that you're eating, because we're sitting in one place, there's not much of movement, and therefore what you eat is also very important. Making sure you take proper medications if you need it, and avoiding the overuse of gadgets. You may tell me, ma'am, we've been asked to sit before our laptop from morning till evening. Yeah, I do understand, but we need to work out a balance and make sure that we, don't overuse our gadgets, engaged in home activities, working along with family members, and maintain a physical schedule for yourself. Okay. I do not know how many of you just jumped out of bed and sat in front of your laptop for the morning session. Now, if you're doing it, please change those patterns. Okay, make a schedule for yourself. Whether you have your video or not, present yourself properly when you come and sit. Because it really creates a sense of well-being when you do it. It's very important that we do that and maintain this kind of physical wellness. And then, of course, the mental and emotional wellness is also very important. And our physical, staying physically healthy can remove sickness and stress. Okay, that's very important that we stay physically fit, because when we stay physically fit, we also stay emotionally fit. When we say physically fit, we stay psychologically fit also, mentally fit also. Okay, so it's important that we are also looking at our emotional wellness in terms of our bonding with family members, relationship with families, and avoid over gathering of information, because that can lead to anxiety. Go with what is happening around us and the flow of things that is happening around us. For all of us who are working from home, take breaks in between. Instead of stressing over your work and stressing over your classes all the time, take small breaks. I hope your institution gives breaks between every class. We at Madras System College, we have been told we have to give a minimum break for our students. Between every class, we need a 15-minute break. And between two classes, we have a half an hour break. So we've cut down the class timings to about 45 minutes, and we've given breaks in between. Okay, and staying connected is important in terms of chatting with people, having conversation with your school friends maybe, or even your college friends. Healthy sleeping habits, I do not know whether I can tell you this, you young people are so hooked on to your devices that you hardly sleep or don't sleep while you have to sleep. It's very important that you sleep and get up at a particular time, at least during the weekdays, so that you are in class on time and feeling relaxed and healthy while you sit in class. Okay, and any kind of hobbies can also increase your emotional wellness. It can give you a peace of mind and calmness and prevent emotional stress and anxiety. We saw this a lot during COVID. My husband and me have been so actively involved in the garden, and one of the reasons why we did it is for this emotional health of ours, because it really gave us a sense of calmness and peace, very especially in April and May, where things were just so perplexing, so complex in nature. Right now, maybe we've gone into a routine, but at that point of time, it was very stressful. And therefore, having this kind of hobbies can actually increase our emotional health to a large extent. And listening to good music, good music, or writing. I know a student of mine has taken on in writing poetry. She's been penning poetry. There's a student of mine who's picked up her art classes again. There's a student of mine who's doing online dance classes. Fine. So instruments. I have a student of mine, after every class, he goes and plays on his instruments. And he just enjoys it, relaxes, and comes back to the next class. Okay. So these are also important things. There are students of mine who've done online certificate courses, and said, ma'am, we just didn't want to simply sit, we're feeling so bored. So I've taken a certificate course related to, whatever subjects they have for this semester. And so they've done that also. Spiritual wellness is very important, because I basically believe that a spirituality is a recharger. It's a recharger. The first thing you do in the morning or the last thing you do at night, most of us, is recharge our mobile, because we're scared our battery will die down. How many of us recharge our battery in the morning, first thing in the morning, or the last thing when we sleep at night? And I think spiritual wellness is a sense of recharge. Okay, it's a sense of recharge. It leads to a holistic wellness of us as individuals. Whatever spiritual background you come from is perfectly all right. Okay, it's perfectly all right. Fine. But whatever spiritual background that you are in, you may say, oh, this lady is old and so she's talking about this. No. I'm talking about my experience even as a young girl like you all. And spirituality was always a recharger for me. It always gave a sense of balance. It always gave a sense of purpose. It always gave a sense of positivity and staying connected. And therefore, maintaining the spirituality and a spiritual time, prayers, individual prayers, family prayers, praying with your parents maybe, or listening to spiritual songs, or worship online. For instance, I come from a Christian background, and every Sunday I worship online, and that helps a lot in being spiritually connected. and takes care of my well-being, and sharing with others or having spiritual mentors, very especially if you have issues that you have, it's very important that we stay spiritually connected. Social wellness is important, and I don't have to tell you much about it. You all know about how important it is for us to have stable relationships with family, with peer groups, with friends, and stable relationships, not going overboard. Make sure you are very stable in what you are doing. Be very, very careful in your social wellness, because you're all so connected to the gadgets. You're so connected to Wi-Fi. You're constantly with online information. Please do not get into any trouble online. Okay, just because I'm saying social wellness, it doesn't mean you have to develop relationships that are going to harm you. Be very careful, because getting out of it will become a major problem for you all. Okay, so you're all online, you're constantly online, and I know that when you're looking at something online, there are messages that keep coming. Don't get attracted by these messages. Be very stable in your relationships, and that's why I feel if there is a spiritual wellness plan, your social wellness will be taken care of. You will know what your values are. You will know what kind of social values you have. Okay, and stay positive. It will help you stay positive and satisfied with yourself, and being happy with others, being concerned about others. Are you concerned about the lady who comes from municipality to your house every day to collect garbage? Have you even spoken to her? Have you said a good word to her? Have you asked her how she's coping and what she's doing? During Diwali, did you share happiness with them? Did you share sweets with them? Did you give them clothes, maybe? Good clothes? How are you concerned about others? Are you reaching out to people who need help? That is part of social wellness. Are you part of organizations that are involved in taking care of others? Now, during this rainy season, there are a number of organizations that are involved in giving food for the homeless, giving clothes, giving blankets, because there are a number of people who are struggling all across India. In the winter, I know maybe some of you are from Delhi and other places. In winter, there are homeless people. Concerned about others, this sense of generosity, this sense of reaching out to others leads to social wellness. So social wellness is not just me and my relationship with my family and friends. Social wellness is broader than that. It involves a sense of concern. It involves a sense of generosity. It involves a sense of charity and reaching out to others. Very, very important, because it helps us to be connected with others. And it's important for us to talk to people, our neighbors and people who are there around us, to maintain this sense of bond and trust that we can celebrate with others. Okay, so social wellness is very important, and also your occupational or academic wellness. I know a lot of us have only, 2 rooms at home. Maybe we do not have a separate study rooms. A lot of us are playing, this game that you have played as children, where you go around and round and find a place and sit on it, musical chairs within our homes. Because the minute I finish my class, somebody else comes and takes my place. Now, even if that is the case, find a corner in your house that faces the wall, so that others who are watching don't see people walking across. Find a corner that faces a wall, which has enough lighting. Make a corner for yourself, not on your bed. Don't sit on your bed. Don't lie down on your bed and listen to classes. Find a corner where you can have a little chair and a small table. Find a little corner where you can sit and really have a designated study area with your notes, your book, your pen, and all your devices there, so that it creates a sense of studying. It creates a sense of a formal atmosphere for you to be involved in classes. Okay, and at the same time, also be engaged with other things that are happening around you, so that you're not too stressed with your online classes. And take breaks in between, that I already told you, and maintain a schedule and work ethics. Very important that you maintain work ethics. Like I told you, work ethics also involves your study area. Work ethics involves how you dress yourself and sit for your classes. Work ethics involves having a notebook and a pen. I constantly have, this is what I have before me when I'm taking classes. I have it with me. I have a diary where every single day of my classes, I note down what topic I have taken for that day. Work ethics. So maintain a work ethics. Please get a notebook for all the subjects and start writing the points that are being taken online. Okay, and maintain that kind of a work ethics. That's very, very important. The way you carry yourself, the way you present yourself, the way you have a formal atmosphere, a study area, all these are important for your academic wellness. And then, of course, environmental wellness is also very important. Maintaining a healthy environment within your home, around your home. Take time outside your home. Even if you don't have enough space, make sure that the surroundings around you are clean, especially during this rainy season. Go out, clean, get a small pot, put a little plant in your pot and keep it on your windowsill. Okay, maintain the hygiene in and outside your homes. And this is important, that in disasters like we are facing right now, COVID has been termed as a disaster by the National Disaster Association of India, and it is a disaster. And during a time like this, we really have to take care of our environment and make sure we maintain cleanliness and hygiene. Do not destroy the environment by polluting the environment around you. Okay, and in order to take care of our wellness, manage your stress. Avoid unnecessary stress. Like, don't keep thinking, oh, what are we going to do, what's our future going to be? It's not in our hands. Avoid unnecessary stress. Alter the situation. Okay, we are on online classes. How can I alter, make it more enjoyable, and adapt to it? I had to adapt to the situation. I'm 31 years of teaching using the chalk and talk with my notes. Okay, and I'm so used to physically seeing my students and connecting to them with eye contact. I'm that kind of a teacher. I need eye contact with my students. I need to maintain that. But I had to alter, I had to adapt to a new situation and learn a lot of things online. Very important. Otherwise, I wouldn't have coped, and I would have been so miserable about teaching online. And of course, accepting the things that we cannot change is also very important. Okay, so therefore, dear friends and dear young friends that I have before me, focusing on classes may be difficult for many of you or some of you, but this is a new normal that we are all facing. And I think we need to stay on track as best as we can. Stay on track as best as we can. Do not deviate. Do not go off the track. Okay. If you do that, it'll be a disaster. When the train goes off track, when the derailment takes place, it is a disaster. Similarly, in life, if we derail and if we don't stay on focus and if we go off the track, it can be a disaster. And there are some tips that I'll share with you that I have shared with my students, which I have used quite a bit of it for myself, and which I will share with you. And believe me, it works. It works. It helps you stay positive. And those are some tips that I'm going to share with you. Like, for instance, set daily goals. What do you need to do today? For instance, today I had your presentation. I have 2 more webinars in the afternoon. So yesterday I did not have a class, but I had set a goal for myself that I would complete this PowerPoint and also prepare for my webinars for the afternoon, because I have to do the welcome address for both the webinars. And I said I will do all that yesterday. So I had set a daily goal for yesterday. My daily goals is not just in terms of my work. My daily goals also involve something to do with my hobbies, for my garden, for instance. Okay, or something inside the home, for instance. Okay, so there are certain daily goals, or eating dinner together, or lunch with my children in the afternoon. So these are daily goals that I set for myself. Prioritize your workload. What is important? Watching Netflix is not important in the daytime. Attending online classes should be prioritized. Netflix is for the evening, when you want to treat yourself with a break because you've had a good day of online classes and you've really been able to concentrate. You treat yourself with a Netflix movie, maybe in the evenings. Okay, set schedules for work and relaxation. I can't be doing relaxation while I should be working, and work when I should be relaxing. For me, my evenings are my relaxation after 5 o'clock. 5 to around 7 is my relaxation. It could be gardening, it could be walking, it could be lazing around, it could be watching a movie, it could be looking at something on YouTube, or cooking, baking a cake, whatever it is, or just sitting with a family. It's relaxation. Fine. So it's important that you set these schedules for yourself, set virtual study times with friends. I'm sure within the group, you already have certain people you're connected with. I would advise you that once your classes are in full swing, and you have tests coming up, etc., you can have little study groups with friends, where you can kind of share notes together, study together online, and support each other in that way. Also, virtual get-togethers, it'll be good. For instance, you have your school friends, have a virtual get together with your school friends. It helps. Okay. And organize, I told you, your home study environment. Acknowledge wins and take a break. Like I told you, you attended online sessions and everything has gone well, you were able to concentrate, or you had an assignment that had to be submitted by 5 o'clock online and you were able to do it. Celebrate it by taking a break. Okay, maybe eating, maybe cooking, maybe watching a movie, maybe just lying down and relaxing and lazing around. Whatever it is, celebrate it on a daily basis. I'm talking about a daily basis. Celebrate it on a daily basis. And I told you also earlier, prioritize your health and mental health, not just your health. We are all so busy prioritizing our health in the pandemic. We're forgetting our mental health. Prioritize your mental health. It is okay to be unproductive sometimes. Don't forget the word sometimes. Unproductive sometimes is okay. When you just want to laze or don't want to do anything, you postpone it once in a while is okay with the kind of situation that we are in. And fighting boredom is one important thing that you have to do, especially young people. We are so fond of this word, amma bore adikudu. Ma, it is so boring. Or you tell your friends, it's so boring, I don't know what to do, I'm not able to go out. We need to find ways of fighting this boredom, avoiding burnout, so that we don't burn out our energy. You have a whole year before you, friends. Yeah, you have your exams coming up soon. Fine, in January or February you will have your exams. You can't be burnt out already with online classes. You have to recharge yourself and ensure that you stay motivated. Fine. And find ways of staying motivated and focus on the positives. Take one day at a time. Okay, very important that we take one day at a time, and don't look so much into when am I going to go back, when is this COVID going to disappear. None of us know. None of us know, but we know things will change. That's all we know. There's a hope. There's a hope that is there. That hope comes from being spiritually connected. There is a sense of hope that is there before us, but take one day at a time. Our attitude matters. Keep things in perspective. Corona is going to stay here for some more time, but look at the past positive side of life. Look at what is positive before us. And I told you, like, for instance, I have picked on the positives. I'm a very resilient person. When I say resilient, I can bounce back very quickly, like a rubber band. You can stretch me, but I can come back. Fine. And we all need that. If we are not positive, if we are not resilient, if we don't focus on our strengths, then it can lead to a lot of problems for us. So stay positive and take things as they come. And I would like to close with this beautiful prayer that has been my prayer from the time I've been very young. Through all the struggles of my own life as a young girl, ups and downs. We all have our ups and downs. I'm sure a lot of you here have your ups and downs, maybe emotional issues or family relationship problems, broken homes or single parent, economic problems, don't have enough facilities, our own self-image issues. We all have our problems. Through it all, this is one prayer that has been useful, that I have used, and I'm sharing it with you so that you can also benefit from it. And it says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. There are things I can't change COVID, nor can you. Okay, there are people trying to work on it, and they're trying their best to get a vaccine, and so many scientists are working, but we cannot change the situation. We need to accept it. The courage to change the things I can. There are certain things that I can change. For instance, our academic schedules, we can change. Our attitude towards life, we can change. Our relationships at home, we can change. Okay. But I need the courage to change it and the wisdom to know the difference between these two. Otherwise, you will be constantly looking at the COVID situation and saying, oh, when is this going to change? When am I going to go out? When will I meet my friends? When will we be carefree again? And then we forget to change what we can change in terms of what is there before us. So we need God's wisdom and guidance in knowing the difference between these two. And therefore, dear friends, I do hope that during this COVID time, you will successfully zoom through COVID, and you will keep your wellness in mind and take care of your health and your mental health and your total wellness as far as possible. Thank you all very much. Stay safe. God bless. And all the very, very best for a great academic life at Sairam Institute of Technology. Thank you all once again. And thank you to Sairam Institute.
Thank you, ma'am. It was an excellent session. It was a wonderful presentation, ma'am. You have motivated us by being a living example to all of us. You have given your best by sharing your expertise and knowledge in every way possible to help our students to empower them. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma. Thank you so much. Thank you all very much. I hope you are getting something out of it. God bless.
Thank you, ma'am. Guys, there is an announcement. You have another session at 3 p.m. The YouTube link has been already shared to your mail IDs. Please be present on time. Thank you.